Yeah. Yeah, I know. Jesse Lansdell. I mean, and Janicki and Lansdell both starting to show some positive signs as far as the young guys go, and then the young defensemen. Whether it's Lieberman or Charlie Wraith. I thought Stastny's goal. I mean, it's always positive when we get production from the back end because it's so hard to score 5-on-5 anymore. That if your defensemen aren't involved in the play, then you're not going to score very much. So, from that regard, I thought. We did some good things inconsistently on Friday night, but Saturday night I thought we played much better after we started slow, and some of that probably is attributed to the late game, early game, and then the other part losing that game, and even though it's not NCAA countable as far as losing a game in overtime, but it counts for the Big Ten, and it still has a feeling like you lost the game. So there's a little momentum on their side and a little bit of down on our side. So the slow start, was disappointing, but I thought from that point on, I thought we played well in the second and real well in the third.
Yeah, the way you outshot them in the third, that really, on their home ice.
Well, we had two really good periods, the second period Friday night and then the third period on Saturday. And we just have to find a way to do that on a 60-minute basis.
Does the production you got out of your young defenseman, does that bode well, you think, down the line as far as your power play?
Well, you hope so. I mean, Lieberman's starting to gain some confidence, and he's starting to show what he's capable of doing. And part of that's certainly on the power play. But I mean, if you have guys that can shoot the puck from the top and get pucks through to the net, it gives more respect then to the forward or to the defenseman, to where the forwards open up a little bit more down low. So having that threat up top certainly helps.
How's your injury situation, particularly with Michael?
Well, Michael practiced today, so I think that he's close. Just a matter of how close. Max Ellis is still out with mono, but other than that, it's pretty much just Michael Graham's status for playing this weekend.
What did you see in Kale last weekend?
I think he's getting progressively better. He certainly made some big saves for us. Early, especially early on Saturday when we went down. I mean, if we'd given up the third goal, it might have been a totally different game. But he made some big saves for us, and then made big saves in the stretch too. So to hold the lead.
How about this team that you got coming in this week, Ohio State?
Much different team than what we played last weekend. We're going from playing on the big sheet against a team that's highly skilled and fast, and into a team that's got a lot of ability, but they're also very structured and very good defensively and got really good goaltending. So I don't think they've given up more than 2 goals a game so far this year. I think they've been under 2 every game, or 2 or less. Last year we only scored 4 goals on them in 4 games. So they're a very, very hard team to play against as far as the way they play the game. They're very well coached, and they do a lot of really good things defensively, and they really create turnovers, which plays into the other part of their game, which is transition. And their power play's good as well.
Jeff, you just said something that kind of piqued my interest when you said it's become so hard to score 5-on-5. Is that something that's specific to your team and the way your team is built, or is that kind of an evolution of the game?
No, I think it's part of the game. I mean, the game has become there's so much speed in the game now that that speed takes away time and space. So it's really hard to, you have to be really really talented as far as making plays under pressure. And most kids in college hockey, that's not a strength. That you've got some exceptions to that, where guys have the real good instincts to be able to make plays under pressure. And but it's hard to generate a lot of consistent offense when you don't have the time or the space to make plays. And Ohio State is excellent at taking away time and space, and we like to be too. And that's how we like to play the game too, to force turnovers. And then it's about your ability to make a play on transition when you got the opposing team out of position because they turn the puck over.
So do you coach realizing that that's a reality of the sport?
Yeah, you have to. That's why we pride ourselves on being solid defensively, but I think that the other part of it too is trying to possess the puck, to break an opponent down. If you possess the puck long enough, eventually somebody's going to make a mistake without the puck. So You know, it's about puck possession too. It's not just about defensive structure.
About O'Leary, just obviously senior, just his evolution as a player from when he got here to where he is now.
Well, he's made huge strides in the last year and a half, basically mid-season last year. Now, and part of it was he got more opportunity when we had a few injuries, and then he took advantage of it, and that's what you hope players do. It's just like right now, we got a couple guys that are taking advantage of Michael Graham being out of the lineup. One of them being Janicki, and the other being Lansdell. So when guys go out of the lineup for injuries or other purposes, other guys get an opportunity to be on the power play or be on a specific line, and it opens up the door for guys to play. But that's not to say that those guys weren't already making some progress in putting pressure on other guys that are in the lineup that they may be bypassing.
What are his strengths as both a player and what do you think of him as a young man?
Which one?
O'Leary.
O'Leary? Oh, Michael? No. You know, when we first recruited him, first of all, I think he's accelerated way too fast throughout his career. In other words, I think he went from prep school to junior hockey. Probably could have stayed another year in junior hockey to come here. And we had that discussion with him. I mean, we needed him to come in, but it might have helped him to play another year and get some offensive confidence. He's always had the big body, and he has good hockey sense. But like his skating is a little rough, and it's gotten better since he's been here, which has really helped his game, where his skating is not as big a factor. But, he's learned to use that body in a more effective manner over time. And then if you add his hockey sense to that, then that gives him a real asset. And, I've been pushing him pretty hard over his first few years here, just constantly chiding him about, the fact that the only thing that's going to make up for his skating is his effort. And his consistency in his effort was on and off in his first 2 years, and that's kind of what held him back. He came into this year with a lot of confidence, and after the second half of last year, and he had a great work ethic in training camp. I mean, and it showed up in how he's played thus far. The biggest thing for him is to make sure that doesn't drop off now, because once you have a little success, it's easier to take shortcuts, and he can't afford to, because his skating is still a little rough. He's never going to be a blazer, but he's a good enough skater that if he's working extremely hard, then he can make up for that one deficiency in his game.
What's the difference between coaching on the big rink and coaching games in, regular NHL rink? You guys had like a hybrid, right? Aren't you guys?
Yeah, we're 90 feet wide instead of 85. Okay. Our length is the same, or is it 190? We play 190? Yeah, most rinks are 190, 185, 190, but most rinks are only 90 feet wide or 85 feet wide. Mm-hmm. So we got that extra 5 feet. But the NHL rinks, 100, or the Olympic sheet is 100 wide. So, and a true Olympic sheet's 220 length, like Colorado Springs, Colorado College. That's a full Olympic-sized rink that they play the Olympics on. Yeah. But Minnesota's 200 by 100.
Do you have to adjust coaching in those things?
Yeah, you do, to some degree.
What do you do?
The biggest thing is that the players have a tendency to play outside the dots on the Olympic sheet, and it's a lot further away from the net than it would be on a normal sheet. So just constantly reminding them, offensively, whether like on the breakout or in the neutral zone, if you're right on the wall, that cross ice pass is 100 feet wide as opposed to, 80 feet wide. So you got to make sure that you're not too far away from the puck, because puck support gets all spread out, and then you don't have the opportunity to create 2-on-1 situations up and down the ice. So it really impacts your support offensively, and it does the same thing defensively too. Because if you get stretched outside the dots defensively, same thing applies.
Why do you think the big differences in sheets and stuff like that?
I think there was a trend for a long time going to Olympic rinks, and then everybody decided, well, it's a more boring game than it is. It's because there's so much ice out there that players get lost out there, and NHL game is more physical because there's less space. And the Olympic rink, there's not as much physicality, so it takes away from some of the excitement of the game. And it just, teams get mesmerized with all that additional space, so there's not a lot going on in a lot of cases.